Hello friends, in this German video we will learn how we can introduce ourselves in German. We will also learn along with that a few German verbs, and as we go along we will also be able to recognize intuitively the German simple sentence structures. I'll explain these words to you, umlauts, German articles, and a few of the German alphabets. Now the first striking thing which we see here on the screen is sich vorstellen. Now you see the first word V, it is the, instead of using an F here, I am using here for stellen. I'm using the a letter which resembles our letter V in English. Let's see here. So sich vorstellen. So it is very clear that instead of using F, some of the German verbs they also use the word V. So let's go ahead, and if you have to introduce yourself in German, if we have to introduce ourselves in German, the very basic thing what we will do is we will just look at the structure of an English introduction, like how will we introduce ourselves in English. How will we introduce ourselves in English? Let's see that. This is a sample slide which I have just created. My name is Sandra. I come from Germany. I speak English, French, and German. I am a student, or I could be a doctor, teacher, or a team leader. So here I am talking about my profession. I work at Siemens, or I work in a company. And my hobbies are singing, reading, and playing football. This is just a sample. We will learn all these words. We will learn all these sentences. We'll try to create our own sentences then. So let's begin. Now let's take the first sentence. My name is Sandra. Sorry. So if you have to divide this, my name is Sandra. So there is one way of saying that in German. Mein Name ist Sandra. So here we see ist. It is a kind of a be verb, like we have is in English. It's the same equivalent, ist. Mein Name ist Sandra. This is one way of describing myself in German. The second way I would say is ich heiße Sandra. So here I have the verb heißen. Heißen means to be called. Now you must be looking at this beta-like thing here. Now beta, what is this actually? This is another German alphabet which is called SZ. S. It is not written correctly. 1 minute. Okay, it looks like this, SZ. So actually it means double S. Now if you have a non-German keyboard, you would not have that, and you can just replace it with a double S. The third thing you can do is ich bin Sandra. So this bin is a translation of am. Ich bin, I am Sandra. So this is ich here is the first person pronoun, and it is used to describe I. So we've learned a little bit of this, right? Ich heiße Sandra, that means I am called Sandra. Literally it means I am called Sandra. So but in German we can use this word ich heiße Sandra. Something is called something. So I am called Sandra. This actually interprets to ich heiße Sandra. This is one way of saying it. Second, mein Name ist Sandra. Ich bin Sandra. So we have learned 3 ways of telling our name in German. The next thing we have to say is I am. Suppose I want to tell about my, I am 19 years old. I've just written this here. So we can just say ich bin 19 Jahre alt. Now this I haven't included here in the slides because we have to learn the numbers to be able to express our age. So I've eliminated this line probably in the slides in the beginning, but that's okay. We can learn that later on. So I'm just giving you one description. If you have to include your age, you can also include that and make one more sentence. Ich bin 19 Jahre alt. How do I pronounce 19? It is 19. 9 and 10. 19. We will learn numbers, then we will understand this more clearly. So let's go further. Then I have to tell something about my country of origin. I can say I come from Germany. So here I have to again make a sentence. Ich komme aus Deutschland. Now if you see here, it is just replicating English. Ich komme aus Deutschland. So here the verb which we are using is kommen. Kommen means to come not to come from, just to come. Kommen means to come, and from here is a preposition which means in German aus. So aus is a preposition in German which means from. So if you have to describe your country of origin or a place from where you are coming, you will say Ich komme aus Deutschland. Now German is a very precise language and it has a lot of articles. They are the das. There are some countries which have a feminine article. There are some countries which have a feminine article, masculine article. So depending upon what the article is, we have to formulate these sentences accordingly. So if I say Ich komme aus Indien, Indian doesn't have an article. I come from India. This is a neutral country. So I don't use any article. So I say Ich komme aus Indien. And you see India is written as Indian. Why I have written Ich komme aus Indien as Indian? Because it is the German name of India. And Ich komme aus Deutschland. Deutschland is the German name for Germany. So the countries have their own German versions. Then also we have, say, I come from Turkey. The German equivalent would be Ich komme aus der Türkei. Now this we will learn, if we learn later on, that the countries which have an article. So die Türkei. So we say Ich komme aus der Türkei. And why it is der Türkei? Because aus is a kind of a preposition which changes the case of the country or a noun, you can say. So I would say Ich komme aus der Türkei. Die will change to der. This is a kind of an article. Die Türkei means it is a feminine article which is attached to the country. Then we have I am from China. Ich komme aus China. Here, there again, there we do not have any article. So we have to learn this accordingly how we use the countries. There is a complete information about this. Once you start learning German, you will come across these prepositions and you will see how the context, the case changes. So for the beginners, it's important to just learn these sentences. Next we come to the languages. So if I have this sentence, I speak English, French and German, you'll see the German equivalent is Ich spreche Englisch, Französisch und Deutsch. So what it means, we have the verb here, sprechen. Now if you see here intuitively, the verb is coming at the second position. In the previous slide, the verb was also in the second position. Ich komme aus Indien, ich komme aus der Türkei. And so similarly, the verb here is again in the second position. So in a German simple sentence structure, we will say that the verb is in the second position. And here we have the verb sprechen. Sprechen means to speak. And the noun equivalent of sprechen is die Sprache. Sprache means language. So eine Sprache, viele Sprachen. Die Sprache, die Sprachen. Ich spreche Englisch, Französisch und Deutsch. So if you have to say Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. If you are a learner of the German language, you can also say Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. So I'll just write it over here. Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Ein bisschen means a little bit Deutsch. So, ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Next we talk about profession. So if you are a student, you can say Ich bin Student. So we have these different categories. I've taken a few. For example, I am a student or a doctor or a teacher or a salesman. So when we have to tell something, I am something by profession, we can use this sentence. For example, von Beruf means by profession. So I can say Ich bin Arzt von Beruf oder Ich bin Ärztin von Beruf. Again, there is something striking about this. You see the A with two dots over here. Now this A with two dots, it is called umlaut. How do we write umlaut? 1 minute. So we call them as umlaut. Umlaut means these are different sounds. Like in English, we have only one A which represents the sound of A and it represents the sound of A. So if I say something like bad, or if I say something like bath, so there is the same A which is used in the two sounds, and we have to recognize the sounds. But in German, because it's very precise, it has this Arzt und Ärztin. So a Frau, a lady who is a doctor, who is a lady, we can use we have the word of this Ärztin. So Ärztin is the feminine equivalent of Arzt. So we have here der Arzt und die Ärztin. Now if you do not have this A umlaut again on your keyboard, so this A umlaut is actually a combination of A and E. Now in general we have like two more umlauts. One is UE, which is written as U umlaut, and we have here O umlaut, which is O and E. So if these are the equivalent of umlauts on your English keyboard. So we can just say, ich bin Lehrer von Beruf, ich bin Lehrerin von Beruf. What is Lehrer und Lehrerin? That is a teacher. Similarly, if you're a salesman, you want to describe your profession as a salesman, you can say, ich bin Verkäufer oder ich bin Verkäuferin. Now you see the pronunciation also we have to learn as we learn this. Now this we can learn later on in other videos. So Verkäufer, now this A and U combination, these are the diphthongs, two sounds together. So we pronounce this as Oi, Verkäufer. This is like Oi, the sound of Oi, Verkäufer oder Verkäuferin. So let's recap this once again. Ich bin Arzt oder ich bin Ärztin. Now you will also notice this, ich bin Student. Student is called Student. The only difference is in the pronunciation of S. The S in the beginning is pronounced as sh. Sh in English, like in SH. So we have a pronunciation of this as sh pronunciation. Okay, so ich bin Student. Ich bin Arzt, Ärztin, ich bin Lehrer, Lehrerin und ich bin Verkäufer oder Verkäuferin. Next we talk about our profession. Suppose I work at Siemens, if you have to describe this, or I work in a company. So we have another verb here, arbeiten. Arbeiten means to work. This is another verb here, arbeiten. It means to work. So, ich arbeite bei Siemens oder ich arbeite bei Google. So, here by is a preposition. Again, new thing here to learn. Now, by can have different meanings. Sometimes it can mean a preposition as at, and sometimes it also has a different meaning. We can learn it. We will come to it later, but for now on you can learn this. Ich arbeite bei Siemens. So, I work at Siemens, replace it by. Und ich arbeite bei Google. So then we have I work in a company. So if I have to refer that I work at some company, you can say ich arbeite bei einer Firma. Die Firma. Again, bei is a dative preposition. Again, you just learn these sentences. For a beginner, we have to learn the sentences. When we learn the different cases of German, then we will understand why it is bei einer Firma. And einer refers to a. So, ich arbeite bei einer Firma, which is an indefinite article. So, if we see, we have learned a couple of verbs. Heißen, which means to be called. Sprechen, which means to speak. Arbeiten, which means to work. Spielen, to play. Singen, to sing. These are new, which I have introduced here. Spielen means to play. Singen means to sing. And lesen means to read. So, if you see here, these three more words, if we include in our list, spielen, singen und lesen. Spielen is pronounced as sh, spielen, and singen is singen with a little z, and lesen. So we can also include our hobbies into our introduction. So I can say das Hobby, die Hobbys. So meine Hobbys sind singen, lesen, Fußball, spielen. So if we just translate it in English, my hobbies are singing, reading, playing and playing football. So sind is another new word in this whole introductory video. Sind is just the plural of ist.